Well, it's Father's Day 2015. Happy Father's Day to fathers. Just a few bit of tidbits for you. Father's Day was started in 1909 by a woman in Washington after hearing a message preached on Mother's Day about mothers. And she wanted to honor her war veteran dad who had raised 5 children after her mother had died. And it took until 1966 for President Lyndon Johnson to issue a proclamation for the third Sunday in June. And it didn't go into effect until President Richard Nixon signed it. We spend $13 million in gifts on fathers each year. Well, that's $8 million less than we spend on mothers. Yeah. Well, one survey that I ran across showed that the reason for that is that there's more stuff to buy for your mom. But more importantly, dads don't ask for anything. They don't like their children spending money on them. Another survey that I ran across showed that the least favorite gift for a father to get is the one that seems to be the go-to gift. So I was really glad when none of you raised your hand that you got a tie this morning, because fathers really don't like ties. So the number one gift that fathers want to receive, according to this survey, is dinner with their family. Yeah. Well, I've heard it pointed out over the years that typically Mother's Day messages are flowery and wonderful, while Father's Day message seems to beat the men over the heads. My hope today is to encourage you to want to be all that God desires you to be, not only as fathers, but husbands and godly men. And please, ladies, I am asking you to give a shout out of an amen if I say something that you agree with, so they know that I'm not just standing up here talking, that you agree. So do we have any sports fans here this morning? I'm the only one? Oh, got some sports fans. It doesn't matter what kind of sport. So those of you who have been at Cornerstone for very long know that I am a sportsman, a fan, not a man, a fan. And a couple Mother's Days ago, I even shared a message dedicated totally to the lessons that I learned as a sports mom. But I'm kind of a fickle sports fan, to be honest. I was never a Skyline Grizzly fan. I was a Michael Glazer fan. And I've gone to watch Sharik play basketball, and I have certainly never been a Bonneville High School fan. And now I'll be a UVU fan, even though I have no idea exactly where that college is, and they are an Adidas school. But I will be a fan because Sharik is there. And sometimes, honestly, I choose my teams according to the commercials that are made by their players. I was a Colts fan while Peyton Manning was quarterback because I really thought his commercials were great. But then when he moved to Denver and they got rid of Tim Tebow, who I'm a really big fan of, I'm not a fan of Denver anymore. But pretty sure I'll be a Green Bay fan for a long time because we went to Lambeau Field and I saw Aaron Rodgers walk across the parking lot, and I just really felt that was very personal for me. And it really bothers Brian, so I'm pretty sure I'll stay Green Bay fan for a while. But my latest interest has been the St. Louis Cardinals. I've never been to St. Louis, and I don't really necessarily like the birds, the Cardinals. And even in spite of the news headline last week that apparently someone might have hacked into the Houston Astros important information from the Cardinals headquarters, I still will be following them this season. And let me just insert here that with that news that someone might have possibly, from the Cardinals organization, hacked into another ball club's organization illegally, just as a great reminder never to put your hope in an organization, your faith in man, because they will disappoint you. So, what has caught my attention about this ball club? Well, it's the general manager, Mike Matheny. I need to Still trying to recover from a little sickness, so bear with me. Little background about Mike Matheny. He played 13 years as a catcher for 4 major league teams. He holds the MLB record for the most consecutive games without an error. He's won numerous awards. He's been the general manager for the Cardinals since 2011. Mike Matheny is a strong Christian, and he understands that the platform that God has placed him on and the responsibility that that brings, he is determined to lead by example in doing things God's way, doing what is right. But even more admirable than that is what happened after he retired. And this is what is the most impressive to me about him. He retired as a major league catcher from the Cardinals in 2007 due to some severe brain damage. But it wasn't until 2008 that he received his greatest job offer, and that job wouldn't even pay him. He was approached by a group of parents to coach Little League Baseball. He goes from a major league catcher to coaching Little League Baseball. This would be his greatest challenge, but he resolved that if he was going to coach Little League Baseball, he was going to do it right. He was going to give it all or nothing. He wanted to bring class and dignity back to youth sports. So he invited all of the parents to his house, and he proceeded to read them a 5-page letter that he had addressed specifically to them. A 5-page letter of what they could expect from him as a coach, expectations of the players, but above all, what he expected of the parents if he were allowed to coach their sons. A 5-page letter that stressed character above anything else, including winning ball games. A 5-page letter that left a room full of parents speechless. Well, somehow this letter made it to the internet, and it went viral. And someone labeled it the Matheny Manifesto. It was catchy, and it spread like fire. And if you have children in sports, not just baseball, or if you are a sports fan, I would highly recommend reading his 5-page manifesto. But I would also recommend reading the book that came out of that. One man was quoted as saying, "The Matheny Manifesto illustrates a perspective we need not only in youth sports, but in our culture as a whole, by teaching the importance of respect, character, and a team-first approach." Sounds like a pretty good recipe for a church, don't you think? Respect, character, and a team-first approach. Well, before you think that I will be spending today speaking to you on baseball, do not panic. All of that is leading up to the word for what I feel the word for fathers at Cornerstone is today. But not just fathers, for men. Men that desire to live a life of class, a life of the highest quality. So what is a manifesto? A manifesto is a public declaration of intentions, opinions, objectives, or motives. A manifesto can be positive or negative. The news headlines just yesterday read, "A racist manifesto," a manifesto dedicated to hate, a declaration of an intent by the man in the South Carolina church shooting. And I had been focused so much on Mike Matheny's manifesto, so positive, so encouraging. To see a manifesto dedicated to such evil really made me more aware. Your life will make a declaration of something. Men, fathers, your life will make a declaration. It will speak to the public, but more importantly, it will speak to your family. It will speak of your intentions, your opinions, your objectives, and your motives. Today, I would like to present you with a new manifesto, a father's manifesto. And what does a father's manifesto look like? A father's manifesto is one that is found faithful. Be faithful first to God. A faithful man will be richly blessed, Proverbs 28:20. Psalms 37:28 said, "For the Lord loves the just and will not forsake his faithful." Be a man that your life declares, "I will be faithful first and foremost to my God, my wife, my children, and the commitments that I have made, no matter what the cost is." So what does a faithful man or a faithful father look like? I asked some people. And this is what I got. A truly faithful man is a man that shows great character in all areas, even those that are in secret. A faithful man is courageous. I asked why. Because he needs to be able to stand up for what is right. A faithful man is kind, to which I replied, how does kindness make you faithful? Because you are kind, you're able to put up with a lot. You're able to put up with more. A faithful man is a gentleman. And I wasn't really sure about this one until they sent me 20 ways to be a gentleman. Men, listen. Be well-mannered. Be patient. Be courteous. Be respectful. Be dependable. Be honest. Be confident. Be punctual. Be caring. Be a good listener. Be compassionate. Be apologetic. Be comforting. Be chivalrous. Be clean. Be loving. Be polite. Be humble. Be charitable. And be complimentary. A faithful man will be a gentleman for sure. A father's manifesto should be that of one that is authentic. Here's the deal. Your manifesto, your public declaration, will be tested. And you've heard the old saying, talk is cheap, or I can't hear you because your actions are speaking too loud. To be authentic means to be genuine, not pretending. Men, we need you to be real. There are too many counterfeits out there. And somehow men have bought into the lie that meekness is weakness. Real men don't cry. They aren't allowed to be sensitive. And they're definitely not allowed to eat quiche. I have never understood that. Real men don't eat quiche. Like eating some sort of food is going to decrease your manhood. I don't know. Maybe someone can explain that to me. Remember, man looks on the outward appearance, but God looks on the heart. Jeremiah 17:10 said, I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind to reward a man according to his conduct, according to what his deeds deserve. Chances are your life will not go viral like Mike Matheny's manifesto will or did. But if it does, let it be said of you that you were a man after God's own heart. Temperance. Temperance is a must in a father's manifesto. Temperance is just a really big word that starts with the letter T that I needed for self-control. Temperance or self-control is so much more than knowing when not to eat that second donut. Proverbs 25:28 says, like a city whose walls are broken down is a man who lacks self-control. And 1 Peter tells us why that's important. The end of all things is near. Therefore, be clear-minded and self-controlled so you can pray. Remember, self-control isn't just about making choices not to supersize your fries. It is a choice to exercise discipline in your thoughts, your actions, your words, your time, and where you spend your energy. Well, so many H words came to my mind when thinking of a father's declaration and making up an acrostic for father. One of them was honesty. An honest man is a man of his word. They can be counted on to follow through. Honesty that matches the standards in God's word, not man-made honesty. I thought about honor, being honorable, one's integrity, who you are when no one is looking. Proverbs 3:35 says, the wise will inherit honor. And then there was humility, a huge obstacle for men today. Humility is mistaken for weakness, and that is so wrong. Humility is something we are to be clothed in, the Bible says. A father, a man clothed in humility is very handsome. Yes, be reminded, God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble, 1 Peter 5:5. Well, as I thought of those words, those H words, honesty, honorable, humility, those H words need to be wrapped up in one other H word, and that is head. As the head of your home, your declaration needs to scream those qualities. Men, fathers, we want you to be the head of the home. We really do. And a man whose life's declaration is one of honesty, honor, and humility is a man that is a pleasure to follow. But remember, wives, for him to fulfill his God-given privilege as the head of the home, we must submit, but we will talk about that another day. Well, if you're going to have a manifesto, whether it's a 5-page letter you've written to parents or players, or a walk with Jesus that those in your life can follow, you must be willing to model it by example. The boys and even the parents on Mike Matheny's team would have never gotten on board if they would have not seen him lead by example first. And he admits it was not always easy, but he knew that people were watching him very closely. And because he modeled the very character he was teaching to his young players, his one little league team has turned into a complete baseball program in the St. Louis area. Titus 2:7 says, "In everything set them an example by doing what is good." There is nothing left out of everything. Everything includes everything, the big, the small, and the everyday. And we need you to be examples of godly good. Your children will follow your examples, even the negative ones. Determined to live a life worthy of saying what Paul said in 1 Corinthians, "Follow my examples as I follow Christ's examples." And let me just insert this as well. Be an example of forgiveness, receiving it as well as giving it. Just as a man clothed in humility is attractive, a man carrying around bags full of unforgiveness is ugly. In everything, set them an example of doing what is good. Remember, dads, men, examples don't need to be perfect, just forgiven. Righteousness is being upright and blameless. Today in our society, the definition of righteous is pretty much whatever seems right in your own eyes. And our children have paid heavily for that definition. We need men with a manifesto, a declaration to seek the righteousness of God in His absolute word. We need men that aren't afraid to call right right and wrong wrong, even when it's not popular. One of the points in Mike's manifesto is the coach is always right, even when he's wrong. And what he was stressing in that was respect and honor for the coach and his authority. And even when you don't agree, you do not argue. You show respect and you show honor because of his position and authority. The coach is always right, even when he's wrong. Well, standing up for truth in God's word is not always popular, and swimming against the current of the world can be very hard. And sometimes we don't understand why God is asking us to do specific things. But His written word is never to be argued with, but respected and honored, because He is the ultimate authority. He is our coach, and He is always right. And unlike earthly coaches, He is never wrong. We need you men, fathers, to be a declaration, a model of God's righteousness. Psalms 84:11 says, "For the Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does He withhold to those whose walk is blameless." So, there you have it. My father's manifesto. I'm sure it will never go viral, and I'm sure I will never be asked to write a book about it, and I'm okay with that. And maybe somebody even here today is asking, why is a mother speaking on Father's Day? I know nothing what it's like to be a father. I know nothing what it's like to be a man. I could say something like being a father is like being a mom, only easier. Get a few chuckles maybe once you got it. But the truth is I know nothing what it's like to be a father. But this is what I do know. I do know what the lack of a godly man, father, how it affected me growing up, into my adult years even. I do know the kind of husband I want my husband to be. I do know the father that I want for my children. I do know the kind of husbands that I want my remaining 2 daughters to marry. And I do know the kind of man, husband, and father that I desire my only son to be. And I have seen enough bad examples that I would long to see some good ones. Those men who are faithful, authentic, self-controlled, a man with all the qualities to be the head of the home Christ has called him to be, an example of character worthy of following, a righteous man concerned more about what God thinks than the opinions of others. Is this easy? No. In his personal manifesto, Mike says, nothing worth doing right is easy. And that can be said about a godly man's Godly Father's Manifesto as well. Nothing worth doing right is easy. You see, Mike Matheny could have met with the parents, and he could have shared a few thoughts, and he could have decided to just roll with it and agreed to coach their sons. And he could have done what he needed to do to get by. After all, he was a Major League Baseball player. He knows a little bit about baseball. He probably would have had a little success. But he chose to write a 5-page letter of extras because he believed, first of all, that Little League needed to be all about the boys. He believed it was possible to make a positive impact on them as young men by teaching them respect, honor, and teamwork and character, and that these qualities are more important than winning ball games. He went the extra mile with what would eventually be known as the Matheny Manifesto. And I think it went viral because there's still hope today of raising boys to become men with character, dignity, and class. Men that are willing to do the extra things to put the gentleman back into man. Nothing worth doing right is easy. It's easy to do just enough to get by, to be a father, a husband, a man. But we desperately need men today that are willing to do the extra things necessary. Men with a manifesto, a life's declaration that is set apart to bring glory to God. Amen.